Budgeting is not meant to take away the fun of life. In fact, it does the opposite. My favorite definition of budgeting is this. Budgeting is telling your money where to go instead of wondering where your money went. That means you are in control. Stick around to find out how you can make budgeting work for you. Welcome to Coaching for Dominion, the space where we learn life skills, pursue purpose, and have dominion in every area of our lives. My name is Victor Kibet. Today, we are learning about budgeting that works. That means there are also budgeting that is not working. There are ways of budgeting that do not work. And the most familiar characteristics of budgets that do not work are budgets which are essentially spending lists. They're just a list of income and expenses. There is no reason behind the figures. There is no inspiration behind the budget. So for example, if someone earns 50,000, there we see an income of 50,000 in the budget and expenses that wipe out that amount. It is basically like a person saying, I need to get rid of this money, and this is how I will do it. That kind of budgeting is boring. It's not exciting because it has no inspiration. Now, there is a better way of budgeting, and this is the budgeting that works. You see, the figures in a budget should be the last thing. Figures are the last thing to be captured in a budget. But many people start from the point of the figures. Now, you see, government every year does a budget. But before the government arrives at the final budget with the figures, it first starts with something they call budget policy statement. And this is a document that captures the things that the government wants to achieve in that particular year. So the government goes to its manifesto or any plans that it is committed to do, and then they list those things. They say, for example, this year we are having a new system of education, CBC. We need to build more classrooms. So this is the reason we are going to allocate more resources to education. They say that we need to equip our military. So they spend more on that line because there is a basis, there is a reason to want to upgrade or improve the equipment of the military. They may want, for example, to do more roads. So they say, because we want to do more roads, because we want to make markets accessible or farms accessible, we are investing more money on roads. So there is a reason behind every expenditure. So after this document is agreed upon, when it is finalized, then the figures now are allocated, the amounts are allocated to these activities. Now, the same thing applies to a personal budget. That means you have your own budget policy statement. What is your budget policy statement as a person? It is your goals, it is your objectives. Ask yourself, what do I want to achieve in the next 1 year? In the next 2, 3, 5 years, what do I want to achieve? Where will my life be in the next 5 years? And what do I need to do to be there within those 5 years? And what resources am I going to allocate to those activities that I need to undertake to be where I will be? So that is basically how to form your objectives and allocate resources so that you have a budget that has meaning, that has inspiration. And you see, many people struggle, for example, to save money because they do not have an objective. They save for the purpose of just saving. And when something comes up, they find themselves diverting those resources in a very easy way because those resources were not attached to anything. And we waste a lot of resources. When money comes in and finds us with not knowing what exactly we need to spend the money on, we put that money to waste. We use it in ways that are not productive. Now, I'm going to use an example of a young man called John and see the objectives that he has and how he has allocated his resources. Now, John has the first objective, which is education. And to the education objective is that he needs to have a master's degree in the next 2 years. And to meet this objective, he needs to save 800,000 Kenyan shillings in 24 months, which is approximately 33,333 shillings per month. Now, it is very clear to John that education is priority to him. This master's degree is priority to him. And definitely it is because he wants to advance in this career. Maybe he's targeting a promotion or that kind of a thing. So this objective is very clear, and he's allocating it resources because it is clear he wants to do this specific thing. The next one is family. He wants to marry 5 years from now. He will save 8,333 Kenyan shillings every month to have 500,000 for the dowry or the ceremony. So a very clear objective again. The next objective is debt repayment. John has debt and he wants to clear it in the next 1 year. And so what is he going to do? He's going to pay 17,803 every month. And so that item will appear in his budget, and it will be clear he is intending to clear debt within 1 year. Savings is another objective. John wants to set up an emergency fund of Kenyan shillings 360,000, which is equivalent to 3 months worth of living expenses. That means every month his living expenses is 120,000, so that when you multiply by 3, you get 360,000, which is for 3 months. So he wants to save Kenya shillings 10,000 per month for 3 years so that he can achieve that level of emergency fund. Now, the last one, John wants to take care of his retirement, and he wants to retire at the age of 65, and he expects a total income of 200,000 by then, and to maintain that level until the age of 95 years. So he will save 10,000 per month in his pension fund. So you see, everything that John is doing is based on an objective. Every allocation in his budget is based on an objective. So he could have, for example, more goals, for example, like going for an holiday. You would maybe want to buy a car, maybe you would want to buy land. All those things can be added to these goals and resources allocated to them. Now, the next step that John has to do now is to come up with a budget. And the budget will just be a summary now of the income and the expenditures. But this time, it will be different. Why is it different? Because each item has a story behind it. Each line of expense or saving or investment has a story behind it. And that is how a budget should be. A budget should tell us your story. As we look at your budget, we should see what is important to you. We should see your dreams and aspirations. We should see the direction that your life is taking. Now, there are steps to wealth creation. One of them, the first one, is seeking knowledge to understand wealth creation. Number 2 is to make money. Number 3 is to keep money. Number 4 is to multiply money. And number 5 is to protect or to preserve money. Each of these steps are very important in wealth creation. And there is a very important tool that can help us to achieve this, and that is a budget. This kind of budget that is goal-based, helps us to ensure that every step of wealth creation is captured in our budget. The budget needs to allocate resources to every step. For example, to acquire knowledge on wealth creation, you need information through books, for example, through webinars, through conferences, trainings. So your budget should allocate resources to those activities. Again, your budget should make sure that there is savings. Your budget should make sure that there are investments and there are preservative actions to preserve or protect wealth, like insurance. So again, a budget becomes very important in this regard. Now, there are a few recommendations that I want to share about budgeting, just 3 of them among many. The first one is the 50-30-20 rule. The 50-30-20 rule tells us that you need to spend 50% of your of your budget or expenses on mandatory bills and expenses. These are bills that you cannot avoid. They are basic needs like rent, food, etc. 30% goes to savings, investments, and debt repayments. So if you are saving in a money market fund, a SACCO, you are buying shares, you are repaying debt, 30%. And 20% for wants and entertainment, giving, and miscellaneous. Those are things that you can do without, but they are important because of the nature of life. You want to have some entertainment, you want to have some to give and help people who are around you, and those kind of things. Young people can actually save more. So this is just a recommendation, but it's not a cast on stone. You can customize it to your need. For example, young people can save more because their responsibilities are less. Number 2 is annual rent expense should not exceed 3 months income. That's another recommendation, that you should not spend more than 3 months of your income on rent. For example, if you earn 20,000 per month, so 25% of that is, for a quarter, is 5,000 Kenyan shillings. So you should not spend more than 5,000 per month on rent, because that means you are spending 3 months of your life just working for your housing for the rest of the year. That's already a very long period of time. So if you stretch again by spending more than 3 months, then it becomes a problem. So 5,000 in a year, that means 60,000 of your rent. So again, that's just a recommendation, and it is important that you don't exceed, because chances are you are living beyond your means if you cannot maintain that limit. The other one, and the last one, is to consult and agree with all stakeholders, e.g. your spouse, your children. I like calling this public participation in quotes. So what this means is that you need to agree with your people who are affected by your decisions, so that there is no resistance at the level of implementation. For example, if you want to move from a bigger house to a smaller house so that you can reduce your bill for rent, you will need to discuss and agree and convince your family, your kids, your spouse, so that it becomes easy for you to make this a reality. Those are just 3 among many recommendations. Thank you very much for coming with us this far. We appreciate you interacting with us, and we want to invite you to interact with us more through our social media platforms, YouTube, Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, LinkedIn. Write to us on our email, visit our website www.coachingfordominion.com, and ask us questions. We'll respond to you. You may also want to have a coaching session, one-on-one coaching session with us to discuss your money issues. We can work with you help you to plan your personal finances. You can invite us also with your spouse. You can work together. You can also invite us to speak at your event and share wisdom on money and other life skills. Also, we train groups, e.g. chamas, chat groups, and also employees of companies, among others. So please feel free to get in touch with us. We are ready to work with you. We are ready to share with you. And keep safe till next time. Goodbye.